ophthalmology, we've got research projects, active research projects in genetics and genomics, also looking at things like whole exome sequencing, but also whole transcriptome sequencing. So we're also looking at the genomics from different angles and different aspects. We are also actively researching cancers of the eye and superficial cancers of the eye. We are researching optic neuritis, which is a collaboration with neurology. Neurology has itself lots of genomic related projects. There's active research in neurology around motor neuron disease, ALS. Neurosurgery is also special in that it's pioneering keyhole surgery. So there is keyhole surgery that involves entering the brain through tiny keyhole approaches, and they've got some novel transorbital approaches, which obviously has some sort of interaction too with ophthalmology. And in ENT, we also have this excitement around cochlear implants, around approaches to improving hearing and preventing hearing loss. So lots and lots of exciting things over a huge broad range of different topics. There are collaborations with pharmacology as well, along drug delivery platforms, both ophthalmological and neurological. There are all sorts of things and exciting things happening, all of which make us really excited about the future. We are involved in interdisciplinary collaborations. So because we all work quite closely together in terms of neurosciences, I think the rationale behind the department is that we're all brain-centered, so the eye is really an outpouching of the brain, and so too the ears. And because we're all working in the same space, we all collaborate very well together. So for example, we have some research projects where ophthalmology collaborates with neurosurgery around pituitary tumors. So we have some diagnostic modalities, something called optical coherence tomography, which looks at the retinal nerve fiber layer thickness, and we can find some signs related to pituitary tumors that are compressing the optic chiasm that we see in the optical coherence tomography. And so we're able to assist each other in these projects to look at different ways of assessing and following up patients with these conditions. As I mentioned, we have a collaborative project between ophthalmology and neurology around optic neuritis and around optic neuritis presentations, investigations around optic neuritis. And so too in the sinus space, there are collaborations with ENT and ophthalmology around surgery, around the orbit and approaches to the orbit and facial surgery. And also involving all of the different specialities. But I think what's also quite exciting is our collaborations with other departments within the university. So for example, collaborating with engineering. So in ophthalmology, my particular interest is glaucoma. And in glaucoma, we deal with, glaucoma is a lot to do with fluid dynamics. And so that's a wonderful collaboration with engineering, where we've been able to help the engineers to create anatomically realistic models and computerized models to study fluid dynamics. And that can be taken one step further into the neurology and neurosurgical spectrum with cerebrospinal fluid. And there's quite a bit of interest at the moment too about how the cerebrospinal fluid and the aqueous humor in the eye collaborate with the translaminar pressure across the optic nerve. The optic nerve being, I think, a point of collaboration between neurology, neurosurgery, and ophthalmology, with the sinuses nearby in the ENT world as well. Also, as I mentioned, collaborations with pharmacology, where we're developing collaborations around drug delivery and novel drug delivery platforms, and so it goes on. Artificial intelligence is transforming healthcare. It is a huge change in everything that we do. I think it begins with all of our diagnostic tools that all incorporate artificial intelligence anyway, but it's going far beyond that in terms of diagnosis and treatment. So I think, as I say, in my own speciality in ophthalmology, what's quite exciting nowadays is how one can use just the appearance of the retina. So we can take a fundus photograph, which is a photograph of the retina, and from that photograph we can use artificial intelligence to diagnose and to diagnose early conditions like glaucoma, like diabetic retinopathy, that would normally present much later, and they can be diagnosed while they're still asymptomatic. And that's one very exciting application for artificial intelligence. And I think that the same is true for all the specialities that are grouped under the heading of neurosciences. I think that something that's very exciting for all of us at the moment is this concept of creating a digital twin for our patients. And that digital twin will allow us to truly incorporate personalized medicine into our specialities. So the idea of a digital twin is to take all the information that one has on a particular patient and gather that data that is available in all the evidence-based medicine that we use on a daily basis. So just to take a step back, for all of us, because we're clinicians, we use evidence-based medicine to treat our patients. And the evidence base comes from randomized controlled trials. But we're always dealing with averages. When we deal with those randomized controlled trials, we're taking the average and then we're treating our patient as if they were an average. The power of artificial intelligence is taking those randomized controlled trials and splitting them into their individual patients. So a randomized controlled trial of 200 patients, instead of it being an average, each patient can be extrapolated and taken individually, and from that set one can identify the digital twin that is most like the patient sitting right in front of you, so that you can then treat your patient as an individual, not as a group, and that you can do the best possible treatment for your patient. We have a huge advantage being a clinical department. So the advantages that we have as clinicians is that we are in the best possible position to identify patient-centered problems. So because we're dealing with the patients on a day-to-day basis, we know what the real problems are, what problems there are, what problems need to be solved. And as a clinician, as I say, this is our great advantage, is identifying real-life problems that need to be solved, and then having a very good idea of how to go about solving those problems. And that, I think, is where translational research comes from. And that's something that I think clinicians can be at the forefront of translational research, taking a problem, identifying a problem that we're seeing in our patients right in front of us, taking that problem, asking the right questions, and then going about finding how to answer those questions, bringing in collaborations from all different departments, but putting that all together into something that will translate into an actual cure for the patients, into actual diagnosis, into actual changes in the way that we make the diagnosis, changes in the way that we treat our patients, changes in the way their outcomes. Our vision for neurosciences we'd like our department to be really relevant, to work cohesively together to answer all of these questions within our sphere, so that we really are truly a collaborative. We'd like our own neuroscience research unit, where we are constantly working together to answer the questions that are so vital in our 4 different specialities, but bringing in all those other angles, bringing in collaborations from all other departments within the university, because the time has changed when healthcare is an individual game. We cannot sit in our silos any longer. We need to broaden out, we need to bring in skills from all over the university, and we need to be able to harness those skills to build a future for the university and to really make changes that are practical and real for our patients, for healthcare in South Africa, and for the country as a whole.